Hey guys, it's me, Tom from 2JRNY Overland, and I want to thank each and every one of you for checking in, subscribers especially, those that stay tuned, and hopefully you like the content. And today it's just kind of going to sit down and talk to you a little bit about what I've done here in the last, probably few 3 or 4 weeks possibly there. I think April the 21st was the day I left out from home to head up to South Dakota, and I make that pilgrimage probably once or twice a year, and I've been doing that now for probably about 20 years or more, actually. And the reason being is a friend of mine who was a good friend and a coworker over at Goshen Police Department. He retired and moved out there, and invited me to come out before his move. And I think he's been out there probably, oh, I think Phil said something about 20 years, 25, 30 years maybe. Don't get me not locked up on numbers and going from memory, but I would say he's been out there for a good almost 30 years. So, and I've been going out there before that with him to pheasant hunt and hang out there, and met some good people out there, and some real nice, friendly people that I become friends with over the years. And so I made that move to go out on the 21st, and when I got out there, uh, Phil and I had, let me cut that. Before I got there, I wanted to stop in Wisconsin at Wisconsin Dales. And that has been something that I've overlooked over the years. And I thought maybe I should get back to stopping there. I always thought that when we would go out, not only going out to South Dakota, but we would go out to Canada to go fishing. We do that flying fishing trip I know you guys are familiar with, but I've always gone past it, but never stopped. And we would always see the Big Big Wolf Lodge there, and we would see that. And I thought where that was at, that was the Dales, and boy was I wrong. I said, I told Amy, I says, I think I'm going to stop there and spend a couple, 2 or 3 days just sightseeing and seeing what that has to offer in that area, because it's a beautiful area. I don't know if you've ever gone up through there before, but it's gorgeous. And so I end up getting up that way, and I end up staying at Devil's Lake, a little camping out there. Actually, it turned out pretty well, because I got there, and through research, that Amy always researches my trips, and where I want to stay and where I might stay in that. But uh, I got there and the campground was closed. It didn't open up until May 1st. So it kind of, put a little crimp in it, but because I always like to find my camp spots before dark. I don't care to set up camp at night, or be somewhere, uh, roll in at dark and not know my surroundings or what's about there. So I pull in and kind of, doing some driving around, looking, and I come up on a uh, park ranger, and I talked to him, and we kind of back and forth, and we, traded old stories, war stories about law enforcement days and things of that nature. And I told him I was going to be up there for a couple, 2 or 3 days, and I was looking forward to camping there, but I can see the campground is closed. And well, after a little while, he kind of told me that there was a spur road back off the beaten path, and horsefly back off the beaten path, and I could probably pull back in there and probably find a place to camp without anybody disturbing me or any issues with that. So I kind of, on a wink and a nod, headed that way, and turned out great. Turned out real good. I won't mention any names, but it developed a friendship there, and it wasn't, nothing illegal. That I just kind of squatted on the state park grounds there, and stayed for like 3 days. So it worked out really well. But as I was there, I would venture out from the camp, from the state park, and I headed down to the Dales, and it was just amazing. I went past uh, Big Wolf Lodge and went on down to the Dales, which is about 7 miles on up the road there, and I didn't realize that. You turn east there off the interstate, and Boy, I tell you what, it looked like Gatlinburg on steroids. There was everything and anything you could think of. There was shops, souvenir shops, candy shops, you name it, it was there. I got there early. It was not. It was before the rush, before the actual season started, because there were several uh, shops and stores and restaurants and stuff that wasn't quite open yet. So, and the other good thing about it, though, remember this is probably April the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in that time zone. Um, but it wasn't crowded. It was not crowded at all, so you had opportunity to travel through, see things, and have a good quiet visit there. So I did that. And the other thing that I wanted to do was I've always heard about the ducks, the Wisconsin ducks, the Wisconsin Dells ducks. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a boat ride. And I did. Went down, and you can do all this on the internet, by the way. Of course, you know, you get on, you can get your ticket over the internet. And one thing to remember is they have the upper Dales and they have lower Dales. And the lower Dales area is where the duck boats run. So you go there, a really nice place, nice and neat. Go out, and there were three of us, four counting the driver on the boat, and we we got on the boat, and he explained to me what the ride was going to be to us, and we left out of there and went through, and it was really interesting. I mean, it really was. Went through the woods, explained things there, how nature was, described some of the fauna and fauna there. Then we went down into the river, into the Wisconsin River, which was neat, and we rode through the river and did that experience. And you can check that out on the Wisconsin Dells YouTube I uploaded, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's very informative. Had a great time. Once I left that location, uh, after a wealth of knowledge, I mean, the guy really knew what he was talking about and described things, and it was interesting. So left there the next day. I went to the Upper Dells and went on the boat ride on the Wisconsin River, and it was more of a bigger pleasure boat, accommodated. I forget how many people, 60 people maybe or so on that boat. And again, the guide and the girl that was given a description of the trip and everything and the location, outstanding, very, very informative. And that was also neat. But boy, I tell you, it was windy that day. And as we went out and saw some of the sights and seen the caverns and things of that nature, we stopped to come back, and we came back around to a location where a photographer, and I'll put his name up there. I'd have to look that up because I'm not going to be able to pull it from memory. But he did one of the first photography on an action photo shot. Actually, his son jumping from one rock pillar to the next, which was pretty cool. And they had a dog up there that reenacted that. So that was neat. But on the way out, I've never had this happen before. I had a gust of wind hit my Stormy. What do you think? New Stormy? Huh? A green? Forest green Stormy? Because my gray one that I have is at the bottom of the Wisconsin River, resting peacefully, I'm sure, for eternity. It actually lifted off of my head and blew back into the water. I've never seen a hat go that high and that far. So rest in peace, Stormy. We ordered another one. We got it in the mail, so we'll be sporting this one for a while. After the trip, that boat ride was good. Went into town, stopped at one of the local bar and grill, and had probably one of the best cheeseburgers I've ever had. And that was a phenomenal, phenomenal trip. It really was. It was nice. It was cool. Very leisurely, slow paced. That's exactly the way I liked it. And from there, I left, and I say we, my co-pilot was at home giving me direction over the telephone, text wise, over the cell phone, texting me about certain camp spots or locations. But I was headed directly to Phil's. And once I got up there, I met with Phil and Sue, and great hospitality, great friends. Like I said, I've known Phil for years, and Sue also, and spent time in South Dakota visiting with them. Had an opportunity to meet up with Cindy. And Cindy, by the way, is a rancher there in Wessington Springs, and has vast a ranching experience. Has always been a rancher. I think in previous life she was a nurse, and from there she got into the life of ranching, the ranching lifestyle. And she's really a good person, really cool. Into horses, did a lot of barrel racing, a lot of horseback activities with her. And right now she's picked up photography, and she's been doing it for a while. And some of her photos and some of her uh, uh, things that she's done has been put into books, you know, been recognized by some of the art folk in South Dakota up there, and that's a pretty big deal, I think. She takes wonderful nature photos. If you ever want to check some of those out, she's on Facebook. I'm not going to give you her last name. What I'd like for you to do, if you want to find out some of those, see some of those photos, send me a message or send me a message on the channel, and I'll respond back to you with her information once I approve that, get that approval from her. So we went out one day and did some photography. And you guys know I like to take pictures of old stuff, old historical value things. And some of the ranches up there that have been abandoned or left, uh, they're kind of falling apart in that, some of the buildings and things of that nature. And it's amazing to me how the equipment that they have is just left out there. It's just there. So I took a lot of photos with her on that. Uh, Came across a really cool old, I think it's probably about a 50, 58, 59 Ford Fairlane that was just left abandoned. Got some photos of that, some old houses and some locations too. So that was fun. We had a great time. Uh, Phil and I did go fishing. Went fishing up on the Missouri River up by Fort Thompson, and it was a beautiful boat ride. The lovely day because it rained up there for, oh geez, it rained 3 or 4 days up there, and it was pretty gloomy. But it cleared up that day. We went for a boat ride, looking for some walleye. Apparently they were out of town on my visit, and we didn't catch anything. Got skunked, but had a great boat ride. But that was really cool, and hung out with them, and then had an opportunity to see some of my friends up there and visit with Rick. Uh, he and I go back a ways, and we stopped in and visited with him, had lunch with him, and then from there I went up to North Dakota, and I visited with Blair. Blair is Amy's cousin's daughter, and we're good friends. She moved up to North Dakota there. She went to welding school as an apprentice, and she's out of welding school. She's working up there at the factory right now, but she's planning on in the future having her own business, which is going to be cool. She bought a house up there, several outbuildings on it. That one she's wanting to convert to a shop, and start going out and doing a welding for the local farmers up there, agriculture, which is well needed up there because I mean those guys they put that equipment through. They're pretty good test of once they get going out there in the fields and things. So she's really doing well. That was a fun visit. Haven't seen her for probably a year, maybe going on a year, and that was cool. So after that, I was going to go to Theodore National Park, which was only 3 hours away from where I was at visiting Blair. But I woke up the next morning to 3 inches of snow. And I thought, rooftop tent, snow, probably not going to work. So I passed on that. Probably should have went and put that on the list, but we'll do it again. I'll do it with Amy next go around. So that was pretty cool. Upon that, once that was done, I went back to Phil's and stayed with Phil and Sue for a little while and hung out there and happened to go. Phil wanted to go down into Rapid City where Sarah lives, his daughter, and got to see Sarah. So roundabout, it was a really good trip. You always want to see good friends and visit and have a good time. So that was good. Made my way home. Of course, you know I don't drive power drive anymore like I used to because back in the day I used to miss so much on that point A to point B, and I don't do that anymore. And I found a really nice camp spot. I think it was an old KOA, Big Bear or no Little Bear campground, Little Bear campground there in Iowa. and stayed there. Real nice guy that was the camp host. He was a cool dude, really nice guy. Stayed there and actually rented a cabin. And the reason for was that it was windy. It's supposed to be thunderstorms coming through, and if you haven't seen some of the weather reports in the news coming out of Iowa and the areas there, uh, pretty nasty thunderstorms and tornadoes too. Actually, so I rented a cabin, nice little cabin, uh, reasonable price. So I stayed there, and then got up the next morning and headed home. So had a nice trip. Everything worked out fine. As you can see, got baby girl here. I got her cleaned up. If you've ever driven around South Dakota after 4 days of rain and gravel roads, you know what I'm talking about. So we got that done, got everything squared away. So I wanted to kind of let you on that info, let you know about that trip and about what was going on with me and what has been going on with me. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I know it's a little long, but you guys know I like to talk. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you who are hanging in there with me and watching the videos and being engaged. I appreciate that. And we got some more stuff coming up. Caitlin is working on some new caps now with 2JRNY Overland stitched on the side. We're looking at hoodies again. Don't worry, for those that are on Facebook or in my contact list, I'm trying not to hit you up again, all of you. So just a little something to supplement our gas fuel budget. That's pretty much where that goes to. So Amy and I are looking at going out to Glacier this fall. We're going to go to Overland, Mountain West, and then into Glacier and out. So yeah, we're trying to save up some green for the feed baby girl. So with that, I appreciate you guys. I thank you for tuning in. And again, as we always say, we'll talk to you later.